Hello, Vol Nation. Welcome to another episode of Believe in Tennessee Football. I'm your host, as always, Kyler Curbison, joined Bree Bacon. We have another amazing podcast for you. Before I get into any of that, please, if you're watching, subscribe, like, hit that notification bell. Please leave a comment. If you're just listening, rate and review, download and re-download, and share with friends and family. Let them know what we got going on. Also, buy merch. We have brand new merch, How We Doing Bud t-shirts I'm wearing right now that are amazing, orange and white. So please go out there and buy those. Links are below. On this podcast, we're breaking down the Missouri game. We're going over the offense, exactly what they did well, exactly what they didn't do well. Also defense, why this isn't as bad as people think, letting up those 24 points, why there was certain mistakes that happened, and how's this team going to look in the future? Because dang, Joe Milton might have thrown some good balls the other day. So we get into all of it. Great podcast. Let's jump into it.
The game. Snap. The kick is in the air, and the kick this time is no, sir-ree. No, sir-ree. Final score. Tennessee 20, Florida 17. Pandemonium reigns.
Loads up, fires long for the end zone. The pass is going to be caught by Tennessee. Tennessee wins! Caught it by Tennessee. Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes the catch in the end zone on the Hail Mary.
Down at the 35, to the 40, to the 45, to the 50, to the 45, to the 40, to the 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. What did he do? All he did was score. Joey Pence, touchdown on play number 1.
All right, so before we jump into the podcast, got to shout out our number one sponsor, betonline.ag. It is the place to go for betting. It is your number one source for betting. They have all the odds, all the team totals, all the parlays that you could ever want, and they cover every sport. You got NFL, you got NBA, you got tennis, you got golf, you got baseball, you got everything you could think of. It is the place to go if you're going to bet on anything and make anything exciting. So for first-time signups, go over to betonline.ag, and for a 50% welcome bonus, use promo code BLEAV, BLEAV, at checkout and receive that 50% welcome bonus. Bet online, where the game starts. All right, welcome in, everybody. Oh, the Vols have another victory under their belt, so exciting podcast coming up. Can't wait to dive into any of that. Before I get into our usual start, I just want to thank every single person who has watched every YouTube video, who has listened to every single thing we put out. Y'all are awesome. And literally could not do this without you. And thank you for everyone who's bought merch. Like, seriously, thank you. Like, this is not like a plea. This is not a sales pitch. Like, seriously, thank you so much. You guys are the best. But let's get into everything. Let's start with this. Reed, how we doing, bud?
First off, the Met, I appreciate you saying that, but I will have to make fun of you because you were like, so much. We appreciate it so much. It sounded like a sorority girl, like, oh my gosh, I love him so much.
He is so cute. I forget I love him so much.
That Kyler Carson, I love him. He's a big old jock, and I love it. But anyways, yes, no, we appreciate it more than you guys will ever know. Sincerely, the listens, the likes, the comments, the interactions. Yeah, buying merch, man, it is trippy. It is trippy to see somebody send something that's a shirt of a podcast that we do and has kind of like our little, characters and our little pictures. It's pretty wild. And it's funny. It's funny you started with that because now I have a funny story to start with. So my the Memphis crew, as I call them, Tina and Lou and Austin and Lee came in this weekend. Liz and Bailey did not. But they came in this weekend to visit. Lou was SAE, and so they did an SAE alumni thing. So all of his old fraternity brothers were in, and so he came in to go to a game this year and see all them. Austin had never been to a game, so he wanted to see one. He's a Memphis guy, but he grew up a Memphis Tigers fan, but has never been to Neyland, so he wanted to go. And so they're in this weekend. We're having a great weekend. Well, Saturday we go to Gavino's for pizza for dinner.
Yes,
I had
sir.
not been there since you and I went after the Florida game, and it was delicious. And so we went back there, and no joke, no kidding, I'm sitting there, and the place is packed. Like, it's pretty busy, and we're at there's 7 or 8 of us or 9 of us because a couple other family friends came too, but a lot of the people that are getting the to-go orders are right around us. And out of nowhere, I'm sitting there talking, and I feel like this presence right here next to me, and I'm kind of like what? And it's a guy, and I wish he would have said his name. And I if he's watching this, please DM me if you have Twitter, or reach out to us some way, because I would love to Venmo you money to buy you a drink or beer. I would have loved to have got to talk with you longer, but he just came up. He's like, "Hey man, I love the pod. Like, great work. Y'all are awesome. Like, keep it up." And like,
I love it.
I mean, if I didn't get caught off guard, and if it didn't like just seem so sincere, I would have thought that like Lou or Austin or somebody would have maybe put this guy up to it to like troll me and joke.
Yeah.
And we were all kind of like, the whole family was kind of like, "Wait, what just happened?" And so it was special. Like, it was super, super cool. And the funny thing is like, I saw the guy come in, dude was, because I mean, whether you're a guy or girl, I'm a big outfit checker outer. People should know that. So like, I see people out, I always check out people's swag. And dude came in and had his khakis on. He had his LL Bean boots, had a real nice orange pullover. Like, it wasn't just like an athletic one. It was like a Peter Millar or Cutter and Buck. Like, it was nice. And then he had like the nice white Tennessee hat with the rope right here. I mean, dude was looking swaggy. So, sir, guy, whoever you are, like, thanks a million. I wish I would have known his name, but yeah, it was super dope for that to happen to me in front of the family.
Well, I mean, honestly, any time that ever happens, it is like, in one, it's shocking, first off, because like, you don't think that there's that many people that really enjoy this. Like, you don't see yourself as like an actually good podcaster. You're just like, oh, I'm talking to my buddy about the game. I mean, that's how we feel every week. But
right,
it's one of the best feelings when somebody actually walks up to you and is like, "Hey, I love the podcast you guys do, and I like, please keep doing it." Like, it makes us want to do it even more. I mean, like, having to spend another 2 hours, 3 hours sometimes watching the game again, writing notes down, looking at the next opponent's game, and putting in all this prep, doing all the editing and stuff like that. Like, it makes it worth it.
Yeah, it does. It does. I don't know what the future holds for us, and I don't know if this podcast, I don't know how long we do it. I don't know if it parlays into something for you, or whatever. So where it becomes some sort of a job. And I think that's the good thing for us is like, we want it to be successful because we're competitive and we want people to enjoy it and like it. Sure. But it's also kind of nice because it's like, we didn't set out to do this to like make life-changing money or like try to become like famous or whatever. We just like, I mean, we really did it because you just wanted to start getting repetition and talking and stuff to see if maybe you can try to be a commentator or a, analyst or whatever. And so to see how it's kind of gone up is, I mean, dude, 12K on an Alabama one. And I hate that too, because I didn't even think the Alabama one was one of our best pods, like breaking stuff down. But I mean, it's insane. So yeah, thank you guys.
And shout out to all the Georgia fans who watched last week's podcast.
Hey,
Like, just give me those views. They just literally watched it just to see us and how we explained a loss. And like, I thought it was so funny how they're coming in like, "Oh, you think your guys played bad? It's Kirby's defense. It's Kirby's defense. That's what did it. That's what killed you guys." Yeah. I'm like, all right, dude. Cool. Like, you searched for this? You watched like 45 minutes of a Tennessee podcast just so you could hear us talk about the second half of the ball game? Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong. Like, those people need to go, I mean, you guys won the game. Like, what you say to us is not going to affect you or I. I mean, I don't know if they're going to get in some arguments with UT fans in the comments and stuff, but I thought the same thing. I was like, dude, if my team loses, I'm never going to go watch the other team, or if my team wins, I'm never going to waste time to hear what they think about the game.
No.
So that is funny that you brought that up. I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was hilarious. And I appreciate everybody else in the comment section having your boys back on my tweet last week. Y'all are the best. Okay, do you want to start with like a little bit of overview of the game and how you felt before we jump into a side of the ball, or we can just literally jump into a side of the ball?
Yeah, I can be pretty quick. I guess the only things that I have
pretty quick.
I say that every time. It's not quick, but it makes me feel better. It makes me feel better if I say it. I will say that I took a screenshot on my phone of all the seniors, and then I was like, "Oh, I need this for the pod," and I completely forgot that I used my phone for the Zoom like an absolute idiot. So we'll get back to that in a second.
Here, I'll try and find it on mine.
Well, no, it's okay because I have my laptop pulled up, so I can find it. But
Okay.
And the overview is I called you before the game because I didn't go to the game. The Memphis crew went, but with the weather and stuff, I woke up, ran, got a workout in, and then came back. I love watching on TV, and so I sat there with my mom, watched it, and so I called you, and I was like, "Are you nervous at all?" And you're like, "No, I'm not nervous." And I was like, "Well, I am a little nervous, and it's not that we're not going to win the game." I said, "I just want us to play really clean." And because it stinks, we have to play to the eye test and all this stuff. Like I'm not going to let it get me frustrated. Last night I was frustrated with Texas, but I'm not going to let these national media people frustrate me with like now that Oregon took like the fact that they were trying to compare Oregon's loss, and I get it. I do get the point of, hey, it's the first game of the year. A lot of things change. I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't compare a game where they absolutely beat the hell out of them by like 40-something points to a game that we played, at their place, to where technically I know Georgia fans would argue that they pretty much controlled the game. And, yeah, they pretty much did control the game. But with our offense, there was still a shot for it to be a one-possession game at the end. And that's how
there is a reason why Kirby – did what he did in the second half. Like I shouted out our defense for only letting up 6 points, and everybody wanted to put in the comments like we slowed down our offense. We ran the ball the whole time. We were trying to run the clock out. We weren't trying to score. That's why we didn't score. And I'm like, no, what you weren't trying to score. What you were trying to do is make sure we didn't touch it again because You're scared. There is a fear behind that. And that's smart. That's very smart by the Georgia football staff. Like, definitely what they should do is be fearful of this offense and say, let's hold on to the ball as long as we can. Don't give it back to them. That's a very smart thing to do. But they're not doing that versus Oregon. They're not worried about that offense. Like, they're just like, hey, we're going to go out there and run our offense and fucking score.
Yeah, and so it all takes care of itself. Well, except for last night. I mean, Texas looked absolutely atrocious, and and I mean the fact that Texas was even ranked 18th was just kind of BS. They'd already had 3 losses. They have 4 losses now. Like they're not a good team, but they keep putting the rank.
Before the game started, I was like, I wonder if this game is going to be one that like is probably like number 4, number 5, like most watched games. Literally, just because Tennessee fans are watching every second because like we have the Alabama game, we have the Georgia game, like number 1 and number 2, and then it's like we have number 3 with Texas TCU because it's just like there's so many Tennessee fans watching.
Yeah, I don't know what the ratings will be, but I'll tell you what, it was a horrendous game to watch. I mean, it was
gross.
Texas looked terrible, and like I said, they're overrated all the time because people want them to be rated, and they, they'll start out preseason, then they lose a couple and they drop out of the top 25, and then they win one, and it creeps them back in. But people want to talk about like last night after that TCU win, and they're like, that is a hell of a win. That's a convincing win. And like whether it was convincing or not, because they did control it basically the entire time. Texas has 4 losses, guys. Texas has 4 losses. Like they're not that good a team. But whatever, TCU is still undefeated, so we got to hope that they get knocked out. because it's if TCU and Tennessee played, I think even Vegas is going to favor Tennessee, but the committee cannot put Tennessee in over a team that's undefeated.
Yeah.
But what I said that I don't want to get frustrated about is now that Oregon's out, they're going to start pumping this USC. Yeah, and I've watched USC a couple times. I watched when they lost to Utah because I caught the end of the game and while I was eating dinner one night, and then I laid in bed the other night and watched them. I'm like, this team's garbage. Like they're not that good. I don't think they're a top 15 team. I mean, they got Caleb Williams, who's an absolute stud, but like around them, like the one team that was pretty good that played them, they lost, and that team played a very, very, very average to below average Florida team and lost. So it's like when they put up the little graphics, USC's best win is Oregon State. Like, what world are we coming to where your best win's Oregon State? Like, just stop. Just stop. But like I said, I'm not going to get frustrated or annoyed by it because it'll all play itself out. And I do.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be fine. Listen, UCLA lost this past week too, and they're playing USC next week. If UCLA wins, then
it's over.
USC, UCLA, Oregon, Utah all have 2 losses. That means Georgia, winner of Ohio State, Michigan, TCU, and Tennessee.
Unless TCU takes an L, and then they try to because if that's a close game between Ohio State and Michigan, they'll maybe try to get both of them in or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, so overall, the other thing about it is for the game. Thank goodness for a great crowd, even with the weather. You know, I was a bad fan and didn't go, but we had a lot of support in there. I talked to Lou after the game. He's like, no, it was still a very good crowd, still very loud. And I tweeted out.
Hey, LSU fans, that's what a 12 o'clock kickoff looks like.
That is true. That is true. And the other thing is, too, is like these seniors, I tweeted it out, man, and it's no disrespect to other classes and other stuff. And I know for you, I know you said this, and you were like, I just want to leave it better than I found it. And that's kind of like, no offense, but it's like if we can't win a national championship or a big championship game or go to a big bowl game, like that's kind of what we want to do. And that's kind of we can hang our hat on. And technically, even though Butch did get fired, like when you left, the trajectory was really, really good. And so like, you were part of the climb up and had some very nice wins. You set them up, nicely, or your senior class set them up nicely for when they did beat Florida the next year. And you guys had a couple good bowl wins. And, but this senior class, what they did, like it's special because like I said, not only did they stay and put the work in and believe and deal with all the nonsense. So instead of just having the good effort, they also executed. And what they executed to do is they were the number 1 team in the nation. Now they're top 5, and they're putting themselves and this program in a spot that you and I and probably every listener or viewer did not think was possible for a while. It's certainly not this quick. I mean, there were arguments, Kyler, where I was talking with buddies in the past 4 years, and we're like, dude, we don't know if we'll ever get a national championship again. I mean, we really were having those conversations. Like, we were like, we're not, I always said we're not Nebraska, we're not Miami. Like, those teams I don't think really will ever I don't think Nebraska will ever get back. And I don't think Miami really has, they have a better shot than Nebraska, but I don't think they will either. But like, we're here. Like, it's insane. So, like I said, not only did this senior class not transfer and then they stayed.
Yeah.
But they won some really, really big games.
Yeah, I mean, it did. And correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, some of these guys that possibly have like the 6 year because of COVID could have been here with Butch, Jeremy, and Heupel. It's just like the amount of turnover you went through, and you just stuck through it, and where you are now, like standing ovation. Like, you guys deserve every single praise that you get, and just so proud of this. Like, honestly, so proud of this damn team. Like, there's not a single person out there. There's not a single Tennessee fan that thought that they would be where they are. Hell, I'm Mr.
You said 10
Optimistic, and I thought 10-2.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
but like I said, don't knock it because we've had a lot of good classes that stayed and competed and worked their tails off, and they just didn't get the wins, and they probably didn't have the coaching and all that. But like I said, there is also another tier to this when you go out and you win games. It's not just a hey, let me give you a hug. We're proud of you. You represented us hard. You guys didn't win a lot of games, but you fought hard. Like that is great. There is something admirable about that. But these guys came out and were a bunch of dogs. So. The last thing I'm going to say to kind of tie us in to go into this, as the captain of the fan club of this defense, this game should have been over a lot earlier.
yeah.
And it was because of the defense as it was that it wasn't. Not to say that the offense had some missed shots and stuff, but and you're gonna think I'm crazy, but this team will go as far as the defense takes them. And the reason I say that is because for the past season and a half, except for one game, and that was last week, the offense we know is going to be there. They are going to produce. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, like I guess so maybe 2 games out of the last year and a half, and they were both Georgia games.
Yeah.
And I get why last year is because Georgia was awesome and they're national champions. Like I said, this year, I think it's because of them being good, but also playing on the road and our lack of execution. But I think we're going to go as far as his defense takes us because when they play well and make the necessary stops, which Kyler, they did. They started making those stops in the second half. Then it was like, okay, now it's a blowout. Now it's over. Because at one point in the game, it was 28-24.
In the third quarter.
And then it ends up being 66-24. And it's like, and it's all because of the defense, because the offense never stopped what they were doing. So we get it. I'm not saying that the defense is more important than the offense. It's a team game, but I'm just saying the team will go as far as the defense takes them because I don't see this offense getting stopped or having a day like it did in Georgia again, even if we play Georgia again.
Exactly, because neutral site makes a big difference too. It's just like I think being in Athens caused 5 of the 7 offsides at least. You know what I mean? It's like then if we're not playing behind the sticks, maybe it's a different game plan, maybe it's different plays called, maybe it's different execution. So, but I agree with you that it like really it does depend on the defense because the offense is so good. And I know it was still like a 5-point game or 4-point game or whatever in the third quarter, but I still felt like the defense, it was just a couple plays. It was just a couple plays to like a couple mishaps. And that's a completely different game. Completely different.
Yeah.
And once they got demoralized, it was like they couldn't do anything. It's just like if we shifted that to the second quarter instead of the third quarter, then it doesn't even seem like it's close. And there's not this like reaction to like, this is how bad this defense is.
Right.
Yeah.
I will admit, I never got nervous that we were going to lose. But when it was 28-24, I was like, get that little feeling in my stomach. I was like, come on, guys, like don't play this game. Like, don't allow these clowns to hang around. I didn't want it to end up being, 49-31, and it was a pretty close game, but we added a couple at the end late, even though they maybe had us a little nervous in the fourth quarter. Now,
and I feel like it felt different too because now we have a loss. Like you almost react different to it and being like, why is this close? What are we doing? Our offense isn't clicking, but it's like, well, I mean, we went for it twice on fourth down and didn't convert, but like offense is still clicking and still doing what they need to do. I kind of like got that feeling when I was watching. I'm like, what the heck is wrong with this team? But then, the eye in the sky never lies. It's never as good as you think. It's never as bad as you think. Rewatching it and also watching it separately from each other, defense all together, offense all together. It's very much like, no, like offense was fine. There was no mishaps or like we're okay. But in the moment, it very much felt like, oh gosh.
Yeah. The go back and rewatches is insane. I think because you you also come down from the emotions and you kind of look at it from a different view, which helps. But anyway, so I found this. So the seniors that participated, and I don't want to go into this. I don't want to go into this too deep because we can save this talk for at the end of the year when we do our postseason recap after we win the national championship.
Exactly.
But anyways, so I will hit on this.
That pod might be 4 hours long.
Oh my gosh, it'll be insane. If we win a national championship, I will come on this pod with freaking no clothes on.
Well, let me tell you something. If we win a national championship, what I would love to do is like me and you just get on for like 15 minutes of immediate reaction after it happens. And then we watch the film, then go back and then do like a full pod.
I thought when you said we get it on, we were going to have sex, which, I mean, I'm totally down with. You literally said we're going to get it on. I was like, let's go. Let me get my hands on those big man meat. All right. So, Hendon Hooker, Cedric Tillman, Byron Young, Romello Edwards, Toby Wilson. I don't know this DB's name. Cheyenne LaBruza. I know who he is because he plays some special teams. Grant Fruckerine, Wes Schuler, Jacob Bourne, Nick Humphrey, Maurice Smith, Michael Bittner, Prince of Bant, Latrell, my man Bumpus, Jerome, our man Carvin, Solon Page, Jeremy Banks, Darnell Wright, Paxton Brooks, Trayvon Flowers, Chase McGrath. Now, I asked you about this, and I'm a little surprised, and I did almost DM him, but since I don't want to be a massive lame-o and DM him just because, like, he's friends of yours and he's nice to me because of the pod and, like, when we go and to practice and talk with him, but I was very surprised that Jacob Warren went.
Yeah.
And because I'm pretty sure, like, when we had him on the pod last year, he had mentioned that he would probably stay, 2 more years. Then because he was a redshirt junior last year, redshirt senior this year, but he has a COVID year. So I don't know. I guess I'm just going off when he talked to us last time. Like, I still think Jacob's going to be here next year unless there's something that we don't know about or whatever. But
I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, unless he got some really good grade for the NFL that we don't know about, or he's got other interests and not, he doesn't care about going to the NFL and he's, going to go be Jacob's incredible. Like, if I found out tomorrow Jacob wanted to get in politics and like run for presidency, I wouldn't be shocked. And if he, which by the way, I'd probably vote for him because I don't need to know anything about his politics, but the guy is an outstanding young man. And so I don't know, but the fact that these guys, we can have these guys another year. Aaron Beasley is massive. He had a bad mistake this game, but he is a darn good freaking player, man. Mm-hmm. He is a good player. Every week he has some good plays. Warren Burrell, I feel like Warren Burrell's been around the program forever, but you know what? I will always take veteran defensive backs. Karat Garland, please stay. That would be fantastic. Add more depth. He got a lot of play this year. He'll be even better next year. Jeremiah Crawford, Roman Harrison, would love to have him. His ass, dude, motor man. I mean, him just running around like a crazy man, bringing the wood. Be great to have him. Mel Keaton, yes, please. Ollie Lane is very nice. Ollie Lane's very nice to have back because of, hey, more depth, more good leadership. If he comes into a starting role, that means he's progressed really well. And then Jalen McCullough, which I feel like Jalen's been here forever, but you know how I feel about Jalen and Trey. I feel like they're very much.
Hey, and listen to this. A 22-year-old just man versus a 5-star 18-year-old. I'm taking the 22-year-old all day. And, like, these guys are old as hell. Like, Jalen McCullough, Ollie Lane. Like, Ollie is pushing 22 years old. And if he is an offensive lineman starter for us and he has 6 years of understanding what football is in a college mindset, like, yeah, I love it. I love that. I would much rather have that than an 18-year-old 5-star who's really a freak athlete, but his mind isn't there yet.
Right. Unless it's Harold Perkins Jr. from LSU.
Jesus. Unless. I mean, that guy.
First loves you. You said Jesus. He loves you. But that guy is going to be the Micah Parsons of college football I mean, like
See
if
ball, get ball.
if LSU doesn't just pay him whatever he wants, then these other schools are going to be coming to NIL him whatever.
Yeah.
Like if he said, "Hey, I'll come to UT," but you got to name it has to be Neyland Stadium. But what's his first name? Harrison, or what was it? Harold Perkins, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
But
Harold.
it's Neyland. What's that?
Harold.
Yeah, so it's Neyland Stadium at Harold Perkins Field, and we just name it that for while he's there. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that. And then you have Juwan Mitchell, which is great to have him around for another year for depth. So I'm telling you, having Beasley and Juwan Mitchell back again is awesome for depth. And then Joe Milton, man. Joe Milton is going to have this. He is going to be given the golden ticket, and it is totally up to him with what he does. He can come out next year and absolutely blow people away and have a chance to maybe play in the NFL after a great senior year, or one of the young guys might come up and take a spot. But I mean, Joe could not have a better opportunity given to him. So I'm telling you, man, that's the one thing I told you on the phone. I was like, I get so confused. I don't know who's graduated, who's allowed to come back another year. Like with all this COVID stuff, I get confused. But I love seeing this list, and I really, really hope Jacob Warren is on that list.
No. I hope he comes back too.
We'll see what happens. All right, tell me about the game.
Okay. Do you want to jump in offense or defense first?
You don't like when we go offense, defense, kind of the flow of the game? You like doing all at once?
Makes us we can go flow the game, but we have to be a little bit better on time. I feel like when we do flow the game, it makes us go way long.
Well, people in the comments were getting mad at me for making it feel like I was rushing you. And one guy was like, well, Kyler should just do the podcast on his own. Little do they know, I'm always the one that is fine with talking and going over more plays. And even last week I said, Kyler, please go over any other plays that you would like. I'm not rushing you. I just said, I'm not rushing you. I'm done. But Kyler's always the one that's like, all right, we need to keep this around this amount of time. And I get it. He's the one that has to do the editing. But to you people that think I'm the one rushing him, no.
Never. Never. I'm always pushing Reed. Let's go by the book. Let's go by the game so people can follow along if they want to pull out their iPad or pull out their phone and watch the game too. Okay, so we'll go along with it. But we won't call out every single individual play and call out a guy doing very well. Okay, so we'll try and keep it as it goes. All right. Okay, so started on defense, which we've talked about before. We absolutely love starting on defense. You say you love it. I do too. I want us to start on defense. I want to get the ball at the beginning of the second half. Like I always think that is a lot better than the latter. And if we can stop them, we already get, momentum going our way. So we start on defense. It's a 3 and out. Some of their play calls I thought were very good, where they had the motion, play action pass, hit a guy in the flat. They did that a lot. And I thought, like, that's good play design. That's a good, easy pass for your quarterback. Like, that's what you should do as an offense. So they got like 4 yards on that first play. Then they try and run. Amari gets into the backfield. He like slows down that runner. I think he gets like 2 or 3 yards. And then they kind of run a little slant to Marion. Great coverage, is all over the guy, bats the ball away, 3 and out. And defense is off the field. They also got a 3 and out the next drive. And it was very much like, listen, if we're up 14-0, I think Missouri is very demoralized. They have to change the way their offense works, and it's not the same game as it was. So on some of it, you can't hold it against the defense, because when the defense does something, the offense has to take advantage. That's how I feel, at least.
Yeah, no, absolutely. First thing, this isn't even a play that really, like, there wasn't even a play that was really made. But I thought it was fascinating, and it's something that I feel like I've maybe noticed once or twice, but I don't think I've mentioned it in a while because maybe I noticed it last year or whatever. But I think it's so awesome that they trust these guys and they can speak to the versatility of our defensive backs. Now, we had Brandon Turnage start, and then we had Danico Slaughter start again. Christian Charles played a good amount. But there was a play where we have, it's one receiver on each side. And you got Brandon Turnage over here, and you got Danico Slaughter over there. Well, they bring their guy a motion across the formation. And so you see Brandon Turnage dropping back to safety, and instead of him going over and flowing and falling with, or instead of just staying on that side. So it could have been like a zone, and it was like, all right, I got to stay on my side because I have deep thirds on this left side. But that he follows and he goes back to safety, and you had the safety on that side coming up who was going to be in the box no matter what. You had Wesley Walker, who didn't have a guy at the time, kick out, and then you had Danico Slaughter there. And I just thought that was really, really neat, and really, I just think that speaks so much to the confidence that they have in that DB group, which
and
that
communication.
It was well, yes, very good communication. But that DB group gets a lot of slack, or a lot of flack and a lot of negative things. A lot of the times this year, I've thought, even though when we've given up plays, they've been in good position. But I just thought it was neat. Instead of Brandon Turnage staying because we were in zone, or maybe falling because we were man, and I do think it was a man, but they said, hey, bro, just go back and play deep third, and Wesley and Danico will have it on this side. So I thought that was just kind of cool. The third and four, I thought it was very smart what Missouri did. 3rd and 4, they said, all right, we got our guy in the slot here. We're going to run a quick slant. 3rd and 4, that should be an easy completion. That's what we talk about Heupel doing. Like, go to your best play. But the way Tamarian played that was so confident and was a great, great play. Now, obviously, Missouri doesn't have the athletes of, Ohio State or Georgia or even Florida or some of these other SEC schools, Alabama. But like the way that he sat there, he sees the slant, he knows it's coming, and it's a great play to kind of get a little baby tug or touch, but come through and around. Like, that's so impressive. And it's so impressive. It was just so easy and effortless. And so it's like, all right, we're off the field. And so like just little things like that are like so nice to see that. And instead of just
you gotta cheat just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
I've done it before.
Absolutely. A defensive back. The punt return, by the way.
That was what block in the back was that? And we will go into it more as we go through the game. Like, these refs were horrible. And I think they were bad both sides. I have multiple things I wrote down. Like, when Hendon ran the ball way back when they called a horse collar, like, I think they should have called a face mask on Hendon. I'm like, I don't know what these refs are doing or how these rules work, but like, I don't think they're seeing anything.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a block in the back. I also don't think Caleb should have even extended his hand because that guy was not going to make the play. The rest of it was great blocking and great job by D. Williams. So go ahead and jump into offense.
Yeah. So we start out little, play action, dump off to Jacob. And I freaking love it. Like, I love getting Jacob the ball a little bit. He lowers his shoulder, gets some yards.
Great catch by him, by the way, because
great catch by him.
People don't understand, like, when you're running this way and you have to turn and come all the way back, it's a little low and away because you're also trying to keep your momentum. It's a very good catch. Yeah. And that's what, like, it should be simple. The ball wasn't in great position, and it's still a really good catch by him.
Yeah. Then we pass, we run a slant to Ramel. I mean, it was predetermined. This is going to him the whole way, incomplete, but it's just like, there's nothing else happening. It's going to him no matter what. Then, okay. And I wrote this down multiple times as we go through on offense, but like running power into too many guys in the box. So in the box, for people watching, is in between the tackles. There are 7 guys in the box. We have 6 blockers. That's not good odds. Like, I don't care what offense you have. I don't care what you're doing. It's not good odds. And to think, if there's 7 guys here, that means there are 4 guys left over to cover our 4 wide receivers. That automatically says to me, get rid of the ball outside. Do not bring it in here. We kept pushing it and trying to establish a run into these bad boxes. Let's just say that, like, bad looks for us. And I did not agree with that. I thought that was it like, maybe it's the offensive lineman in me, but I remember playing and being like, this is dumb for us to run into this box. Like, we cannot block every person and it will be a tackle for a yard or a tackle for loss because somebody's going to be free, and it's just not good numbers. But I think eventually, with our success on the outside, that's why in the fourth quarter, we were able to run the ball so well because that guy stopped staying right in the box. He started creeping out, and then it was 6 in the box versus our 6 blockers, and we could do that.
I'm gonna tell you who else
7 in
did
the
that.
rocks, we run power. Brew double move. Great. I mean, just great throw, like great double move by Brew. Hendon underthrows him a little bit, but he also gets hit because Jerome misses his block. He kind of overshoots on number 8, who's honestly their best pass rusher as an outside linebacker. So that's what really caused it. We have another 7 in the box. We do play action pass instead of running it and hit Jalen, or Jalen comes across the middle and Hendon misses him, overthrow. Okay. Or wait, that's when he hit the dig, I think. Possibly. And then Hooker has an amazing play where he gets out of pressure, runs for a good amount of yards. Jacob and Jabari just completely miss guys. Just let him through. Let him get a free shot at Hendon. And what an incredible play by Hendon. But, guys, what if I'm Hendon, I'm going to them like, hey, you want me to get fucking killed, dude? Please help me out here. And then let's see. Good bounce by Jabari. After that, Jabari bounces it outside. It's another 7 in the box. And honestly, there was a hole up the middle that Jabari missed when they show it from the back view. But if he goes there, it's not a touchdown. If he goes up the middle, it's safety one-on-one trying to make it. Because he bounced it outside, he was able to outrun safety, and there's no one else to get in his way. So I love the drive to start. I also thought there was many mistakes that we don't need, but because our offense is so good and because we have certain players that are so good, Hendon himself, we get away with it.
Yeah, the throw and catch, it was an outstanding catch by Brew. People don't understand that's a tough to adjust like that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're coming here, okay, that's not that bad. But when you have to come all the way back around,
you're looking this way, and then it goes all the way over to this side.
It's tough. It's so, and I think that's why you saw a little emotion out of him too. I think that a little bit of emotion was because you feel as an athlete like, damn, that was sick. And also, I think because of some of the lack of shots that they hit last week, and it was almost kind of like, hey, I need to make this good catch for my team. And the thing about the throw that I liked was that he did put it on the outside. But the other thing about the throw is I think if he just leads him in stride, it's probably 6. Or
Which I'm not even blaming on Hendon. I'm blaming it on Jerome.
Right, sure. Whatever the case may be, I'm just saying if that throw, whether it's a better throw or better protection or whatever, it can be there. But thank goodness for Brew to make an outstanding catch. The 2nd and 10 on the break where he broke the sack and step up, that's what we've been seeing from him for basically 2 years now, and that's what we didn't see last week. Mm-hmm. And I say that not to bring up last week again because he did have some good runs and getting away from stuff, but those are the plays that he is going to have to continue to make if we make it into a playoff and in those, and if we play the playoff game and then have a chance at the national championship. Those are the those are the plays he has to make.
Heisman moment.
Yeah, it would be a Heisman moment if it wasn't at Missouri.
If he does that versus Georgia, it's a Heisman moment.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
And then the run was I loved everything about that run. So first off, you got Jeremiah Crawford coming on a pull, and you had Jacob on the outside, but no one was really Jacob. There was a guy kind of head up over him, but I think all of them thought it was going to be a pass for whatever reason because Jacob can kind of ease his way off. And he doesn't even get a chance to block his original guy because Darnell Wright is absolutely bullying the other guy. And so then he if you're watching on YouTube, Jacob comes off the line and he's all right, who's going to show? Who do I need to take? Well, his guy doesn't even come in time, and by the time his guy realizes it, Darnell's got his guy going this way, and then they just double team Darnell's guy, block out Jacob's guy, so they got a 2 for 2. And then if you watch on the outside, the corner is not what the corner is in man, so he's just watching Ramel. So Ramel just comes off and gives him a little shimmy shake and just kind of stops. And then right when the guy finally realizes the run, he initiates. I don't even think that corner really wanted to get off the block. But then Jalen does a good job. His guy's playing way off. Jalen comes off hard, stops, and then the guy realizes like he's not making a move one way or the other. Let me get my eyes in the backfield. Jabari's basically halfway to him. They extend, good block. It was just a perfect execution of run play. It was basically a walk. It was a walk in from 20 yards out, and that doesn't happen often.
No.
So
and I, you know what? I'll say this too, because Jalen is not made for this at all. But I like the way he blocks. Like, I think he does a good job blocking, being the thin, skinny guy who's not as strong. He still does a decent job doing that. And like, that's tough for being his size.
I agree. He's a good blocker. I will say this. He is the worst open field good.
He has no moves.
He legitimately is the worst good receiver I've ever seen in the open field. I mean, and the thing is,
dude.
I've played with people like that are good players at running back and good plays at receiver, but when they get one-on-one and like there were guys there were guys that are very, very fast, which like Jalen is, and very good athletes, jump high, but when it needs to be a shake in the open field, I think you're going to make a guy miss in the open field better than Jalen is, because like it's just it's just not the way he's made. Like,
no,
God bless him, he tries, but like, I mean, literally probably the worst receiver I've seen in the open field.
I agree. I wrote it down too later when he has those a few that he tries to make. So score a touchdown. Defense back on the field. Disguise the safety blitz. I love the disguise of it. He comes on it. Great coverage behind, because when you send that safety, it's very much like, all right, throw it to that direction. They're not going to have that coverage. Everybody's manned up and good coverage, ends up throwing it over his receiver. Pitch to running back side, which is confusing for the defense, especially Juwan. Like, you can see when he's lined up, he lines up kind of opposite running back, thinking if they hand it off, it's coming this direction. So he has to pretty much run further than that running back does, and does a very good job of pursuit and makes the tackle. And then, quarterback steps up, retrack by Byron Young, makes the tackle, 4th down, we punt.
So the 3rd and 4, I only took a note on the 3rd and 4 on this, and I love what was so funny about that 3rd and 4 is the design, and they showed it this, if I'm not mistaken. Now I know defensively we showed it drop, but I think it's where they had the pyramid. They had 4 receivers over to the right, 1 to the left, nobody in the backfield. And so they are trying to get Tennessee to be like, oh my gosh, they have 4 over here. We got to get out of there. And they were trying to play the numbers. We didn't care. We stayed over there with our 2. We had a corner, Wesley Walker it was Wesley or Tamarian on the inside. And then we just had our safety shaded over. So it's like, if you want to go there, fine. You do have the numbers, but we'll take the chance. We still showed that we were going to blitz. And I was like, is that quarterback sitting there? He's like, F. Like, well, I've got 5 and they've got 6. Like, I'm screwed. But we ended up not coming. We dropped some of them. And I thought the droppers, if you guys when you're watching football, if you want to see how good someone is at coverage and like how good of a dual player they can be, like, as a linebacker, hey, are they just a good run stopper? Are they see ball, get ball? Can they be a 3-down backer? Like, our linebackers do a good job of when they are not coming, you can see them turn heads. And that's a good thing. It's like, it's kind of like walking and chewing bubble gum at the same time. Like that's that saying that like he's so unathletic he can't walk and chew bubble gum at the same time. You would think while you're running backwards or dropping back or getting your depth and opening up that you should be able to turn and look. But a lot of times we get lazy and we want to just drop and just look at the quarterback.
Yeah.
So they do a really good job of turning and finding. And that's what I liked about that play is we showed it. We didn't care about the numbers. We showed it. We designed it well. And the guys, when they dropped, if you're watching on YouTube, the guys that were on the right side, they were dropping back middle. when they showed they were coming, they opened up and turned and started finding, because that's what you're taught is, hey, find what's coming in your direction, find what's coming in your zone, stuff like that. I thought it was funny, and I thought it was good play.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny that we're like, sweet Missouri, like we don't care. We're going to stay in our numbers.
That's Tim Banks for you, man. He does not give a shit.
Yeah.
Send 6, runs man coverage on the last plays of games. All out. All right, so punt, we get the ball back. Hit a sweep to Jabari, make a man miss. You know, it's him versus his guy. Loaded box, cover 1, and we hit Hyatt with a crossing route. Love that. It. Loaded box, don't run it. It's cover 1. They can't keep up with Hyatt's speed. That is his greatest attribute. Hit him, bro. DB was never close. Never. If you give Hyatt 10 yards cushion, you're done. You're done. He's at full speed by the time he gets to you.
So it's a little foreshadowing, because later in this drive, it's 4th and 4. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I took a screenshot picture and I'll send it to you. But if these teams want to man us up and bring a blitz, now I get it. You can't necessarily do this if there's a robber safety, because a lot of these times I've noticed these safeties, if they're playing man and bringing a blitz, they're not leaving their safety to cover the top, because they're saying, hey, we're going to get there so quick. Hendon's not going to have a chance to really beat us over the top unless it's an outside shot. And those corners are probably topped by, like, Kirby. He's like, hey, you're on your own, so don't get beat deep. And what they do is they'll either take that safety and drop him in that mid-robber zone, or they'll take a linebacker and drop him back, take away, because that's taking away the easy throw for a quarterback. As a quarterback sees man, he's like, okay, well, if it's man, let me hit my best receiver on an in-breaking route or something easy. So, like, I say all that to say, if we have that, I'm fine if you throw it to Jalen every single time. It is man coverage and it's a safety. They cannot stay him on a slant, on a post, on just a climb route, anything. So I love to see it. Yeah. Little foreshadowing. The only play I have on this offense is the 4th and 4. Yeah. I have no idea what Hendon Hooker was looking at.
I don't either. He even looked to that side.
The picture I'm showing, the picture I send you, Kyler, and you need to post. Do not show the play. Just put the picture in there. It is a perfect pocket. It is Hendon Hooker looking to the right, and it is Jalen Hyatt wide open. It is as open as you can be in Division I football. And the fact that he does not let it go. If I'm Josh Heupel, that is the stuff that I'm just like, my mind is blown. And that is why I even said it the other day when I was talking to Austin after he went. And he's like, Hendon, I've seen Hendon play on TV. He's like, but he's even better in person. I said, yeah, he's a really good quarterback. I said, but the sad thing is, I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's having a really good year because of Heupel. But I said, and I will still say this, I still believe it. Maybe I'll eat my own words in 3 to 4 years. And I'll be like, dang, I wish we had Hendon back. But, like, if we get a quarterback in here that is a naturally good quarterback on his own, it is over, bro. It is over. Mm-hmm. I don't know why Hendon didn't throw it. I don't know what he was looking at. I don't know if he's looking at Ramel on the outside. And like I said, not a knock on Hendon. His resume speaks for itself. He's been benched. He transferred, all that. And it makes his story even better that, like, he had to really, like, grind. He didn't quit. Perseverance, and he is really good.
Yeah,
like he is playing really well this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone would agree with you when you say it, because it's like, if Hendon would have stayed at Virginia Tech, he's not a Heisman favorite. He's not a 8-9-1 team. He's not going to get drafted high in the NFL draft. Like, no, all of that matters. The fact that he is under Heupel matters.
Yes, like, and no offense to him, but, like, if he stayed at Virginia Tech, dude might, like, if he wanted to coach, he might be coaching right now, or he might be, like, investment banking right now. Like, his career is completely changed. And like I said, he still makes the play, so don't get me wrong. But it was mind blowing to me. I'm like, how is a Heisman Trophy finalist not let this thing rip? I don't know.
I didn't get it either. I thought he had plenty of time. And I mean, whatever picture you send me is, probably going to show it. Like, Hyatt was wide open. So turnover on downs. Missouri gets the ball. This is just the actual when they go score. So this is what I was saying earlier. Like, this could have been 14-0, and then it could have been a completely different game. But Missouri comes with the quarterback motion, option, power. When I tell you this was our number one run play my senior year with Dobbs, I cannot express to you. We ran Lennox and what was the other side? Lennox was to the left and
Ricky to the right.
no, because it was all boxers because it's a punch.
Lennox and
Rocky.
Lennox
and Rocky. Ran Lennox to the left, Rocky to the right. And they would call the play. We had no idea what was going on in the background. We just knew it's counter to the left and counter to the right. That's all we knew as offensive linemen. And they would have motions coming. They would have fake handoff to Alvin, fake handoff to Josh Malone, handoff to Hurd, and Dobbs takes it on the counter. Like, it would kill teams, absolutely kill them. They could not keep up with, and Dobbs would just read that defensive end on the front side, be like, hey, you're going to stay with this motion guy? Stay with him. I'm taking it right up the middle. Hey, you're going to stay with me? I'm giving it to the motion guy. I don't know why Missouri didn't do this more, because it is so dangerous, literally so dangerous. And if you have a very good running quarterback, it's over, bro. So
and pre-snap, you're pretty screwed, because Solon Page was on the left side. His guy even came in, but he comes way off the left edge. Aaron Beasley's trying to split the difference. You're right. I love the play. And
I love it too, because we ran it all the time. I mean, hell, the pulling guard fell down. He wasn't even available to block anybody, and they still got 20 yards. Like, that's how potent that play is. Quarterback draw. Then quarterback runs again, just jukes out Byron. Like, very bad.
So hold on. I gotta jump in here. In my notes, I do not have Byron got juked out bad. It was the first time in his career that he's been here that I felt like he was running in mud. I don't think he got juked out, because, like, whether it was the quarterback and Elijah Young, I think was their running back name, both got him. And I don't think it was like where Byron Young's broke down and they shake and he kind of falls like basketball. You crossed him over. I thought it was more of like he looked like he was running in mud. And that I've never seen it to where he doesn't make the play in the open field, or if he doesn't make the play in the open field, it looks like, wow, that guy's really fast because Byron Young's moving fast. Byron just kind of looked like standing still a little bit.
I always trust Byron. I'm not going to not trust him, but Cook got him on that one. Like, he got him on that play. You just got to admit somebody gets you sometimes. So he got him on that play. Then they called a screen into a blitz, which was literally the perfect thing. Jalen coming from safety, incredible open field tackle, just humming. No one ever touches him, gets on the ball. Like, it was the perfect play call to call into our defense, and Jalen just made it not work for them.
It is probably I mean, I'm top 3 plays that he's ever made at the University of Tennessee that I remember. And I'm going to say top 3, not the number 1, because he could remind me of some, or coaches or like other players could remind me of some. But how well he played it. And you can watch, he comes up, he reads his keys, he sees the outside guy come in, then he turns back to look. And when he sees it, he shoots his gun. Nobody has a chance of blocking him. And I was so freaking impressed. That play right there is like, those are plays that it's like, that's a damn good safety. That's a damn good defensive back. I was thoroughly impressed. It's probably one of the best defensive plays I've seen this year.
Yeah.
So I'm glad. Yes.
They hit a quick pass between zones. Tyler Barron, who had an incredible game, makes a tackle in the backfield. He beats the back block, which was trying to cut him. He still beat it. You're right. Wide receiver bubble. I think Danico and Walker were both being held on that play. So that's another ref thing. And then it's third down, and BY sets the edge, makes him cut back inside. Beasley makes an incredible tackle, forces fourth down. And we're 3 drives in for Missouri, and it looks like they're only going to have 3 points. And that's damn impressive by the defense. That's what you expect. Beasley makes a costly mistake and just scoots up to the line of scrimmage and lines up over the center, which we can't have.
Yeah, and this was a bummer. This was a bummer because those are things you can't have in big games. It's fine. We get away with it here, but it really negates the play that he made at linebacker, dude, was
Incredible.
and not only was it one of his highlight plays of where he's sitting there, he reads it, he shoots it, and then he takes on a block and makes a tackle like routinely. Like, if you're watching on here and he kind of scrapes, forms it up. If you go back and watch it, dude was literally like facing this way, looks like he slipped on a banana peel and somehow stops and is athletic enough to not only make the tackle but stonewall their quarterback and hold him for to force fourth down. So I was thoroughly impressed by that. The other thing is the next play where they scored.
This is a tough spot for Danico.
Yes, it was a very, very good play design. A lot of people do it. I would love us to do that with. Well, you know what? We kind of did something similar with the Jalen Hyatt in the Bama game, where we kind of run him in motion and they just can't stay with him. I actually don't think that we should do that with any of our receivers, where it's basically man on man. There's no one else over there. The only one I would probably do it with Brew or Said, even though they're not very fast, or where they're not going to get probably much of an advantage of the come in and back out. But they're beasts. They're going to make someone miss. Because Jalen's fast enough, but I think if we get it back to Jalen, he's so bad in the open field, the DB's going to make a tackle. But I probably don't pick another DB. Like if someone has to say, Reed, pick who you want out there to try to play that, it's probably going to be Danico one, and then Tamarian and Wesley Walker, and then probably Kamal Haddon. Because
let me ask you this, and
yeah.
I was just thinking this when I watched him attempt to go back out and make the tackle. If you're a DB in that situation, is it not going through your mind, let me miss across his face if I'm ever going to miss?
Right. You're not thinking that, but the principle is, so Danico is just kind of what makes Danico good is kind of what hurt him on this. It's kind of like the old basketball terminology with like Kobe Bryant or James Harden or some of these volume scorers. It's like, well, hey, maybe if they pass the ball a little bit more, it's like, yeah, I don't disagree, but that's also why they're as good as they are, because they just take over games and whatever. So it's kind of like his aggressiveness, because when you go back and watch it, he comes in, he slips, he tries to get back up and he gets out there, and he's a good athlete. So like he gets back out there, but I don't know if his angle was just a little bit bad.
It looks like he hesitates for a second, thinking he might cut back in.
Well, and so and that's what I was going to say is I don't know if he mistimed or he kind of took a bad angle, and then he just misjudged the wide receiver speed.
Yeah,
because he kind of gets back in position. But what I was going to say, yes, if that's me, if I'm the defensive back, granted, I've always had this in my mind. It's not really a fair comparison because I'm not that super fast. So if I have an open field tackle, like even if you go back and watch different things where I was in open fields against guys way quicker and faster than me, I was going to try to use my length and kind of get in front of them and make them feel like I'm longer than I am, to answer your point, to turn them back inside.
Yeah.
So yes, and Danico, instead of being a dog and be like, I'll go make this open field tackle, if he just gets back out there and kind of plays basketball defense, then yes, it's probably not a touchdown. So you know what? If we're playing Georgia again, the national championship, and they're driving and we're up by 3 and they're trying to score a touchdown and they run that play again, I hope that he either makes the tackle or he doesn't go for the tackle and he just plays basketball.
Yeah, I would hope so. All right, so Missouri scores, tied ball game. We need to keep moving. We're going slow. So next drive we're on. Let's see. Bubble to Brew. He drags dude 15 yards. I fucking love Brew McCoy. I cannot wait for him to come back. He's going to be so good for us next year. Jeremiah gets beat bad. It's almost an interception. Hinton throws it up. I think it's a hold on Ramel because, how can it be that far away from him without somebody holding him back? They don't call anything. Jalen had blockers, but runs into the back of Darnell on a power. Cooper and Jerome are off levels. We got lucky with a roughing the passer. If I'm me and I'm a football player and I watch all the roughing the passers in the NFL, I hate that call. I hate that call. If a guy lands on him, what the hell do you want him to do? That's how I feel as a football player. as a Tennessee fan, I'm like, yay, roughing the passer, let's get another first down. But like as a football player, I don't like it. But there were a good amount of times, which I have in my notes, where Jeremiah, Cooper, Jerome, Darnell, Spraggs especially, missing blocks, putting their heads into pass pro, just not good technique. And that's, you want to know what holding is? It's when you don't have good technique. So every time you see a holding that our guys got called, it's because they didn't have good technique and they didn't use it. Hyatt bubble, he kind of comes up not looking right. And there was a couple plays where I felt like he almost looked like he was not moving as fast as usual. Now I have no idea if that's Hyatt.
Oh, okay.
I felt like that. There was a couple plays where it just like felt like he wasn't like moving correctly. Let's see. Then Jalen loses his man in pass pro. It's a deep ball to Brew. They didn't call PI. It's in the end zone. Guy hits him before the ball gets there. Brew definitely has a chance to catch it inbounds, and they don't call penalty. That's another play where it's just like, what the hell are these refs even looking at? Like, I don't understand what is going on. I don't think it's a roughing the passer, and I think it's a PI. Like, what is going on right now?
By the definition, it was roughing the passer because it was a little late and he took his body weight down on him. So by the book, they got that one right. Whether you and I agree that should be in part of the football or not. So
now,
first
listen,
off, okay, go ahead.
Do you want to talk about the plays I've already talked about?
So what I was going to say is this is my last one that I have actually a lot of notes. I didn't take as many notes because I just know when we go back and forth like this. So I'm going to let you be the game play by play, and I'm going to be color.
I can do that.
So for these, I like that we did the screen motion or the motion screen to Brew because a lot of that times we'll do those motions. That's where we fake it and do the slot shot. But I was happy that we threw it. Good blocking. Good job getting up there. Yes, we were both very wrong about Brew. This year he's been – technically we were right. We said he'd probably be about the third receiver, which technically he is the third receiver if – everyone's healthy, but he's played very, very well. He's been better than I expected. I think he's going to be even better next year.
The way he moves too on those bubbles, I feel like it's a guaranteed 4 yards. Like he can push 4 yards no matter what.
Yes. I thought it was not only was it a bad throw by Hendon, I thought it was kind of a bad decision, but I will give Missouri's DB credit when they should have had that pick and the safety and corner ran into each other. If you go back and watch it, now I don't have the coach's film, so I can't see it for sure, but it does look like that Ramel does kind of have a step. Not much, but a little bit of a step when Hendon wants to let it go. And I think there might have been a little bit of pressure. But that DB went like Mario Kart mushroom boost because he just leaves Ramel in the dust. And I don't know if Ramel like had a misstep or like maybe tangled, but I didn't love the decision. I don't know if it was predetermined that Hendon wanted to go there or what. But that should have been a pick, and that it wasn't clean. Anyways, 4th and 4, and yes, I have the missed PI, but 4th and 4, and they go to Jalen in man coverage, and it was a great hands catch by Jalen. He had to extend for it. He had a guy right there. Now I don't know why they decided.
Now listen, the best part, the absolute best, just part of this 4th and 4. Is that Missouri ran the same blitz that Georgia ran over and over last week. They ran the 2 DBs off the edge. They dropped their linebackers into coverage. They ran the exact blitz thinking, we'll do the same thing that Georgia did to Tennessee. We'll run the same blitz when it's an important down, when it's 4th and 4. And we'll get there just like Georgia did. And what did Tennessee do? Perfect fucking protection. Running back picks up the blitzer, and we complete a pass to Jalen Hyatt. It was part of it makes me feel so good that it's the defense showing us the same thing they showed us last week, and we succeed instead of fail.
I don't want to burst your bubble a little bit, and it was a good job by the offensive line picking it up. But that DB or safety who was in man coverage was about 10 to 12 yards deep. I think that we would have maybe struggled to complete that, and I would have liked to seen who we went to if they were pressing or were in a little bit closer coverage to Jalen. I still get a little nervous when Jalen or Said or Brew get pressed.
I might be nervous with Jalen, but not with Said and Brew.
So, hold on. Let me explain why I get a little bit nervous with it. All three of them have perfect attributes to beat man. Said and Brew, because they're physical. Like Brew has speed and he can be physical. Said's more just physical and he can use his body, and Jalen is just use his speed. But there are times where I do think all three of them can get locked up when it comes to maybe Hendon not having as much time as sometimes. So if our offensive line blocks well, I'm not saying like amazing. I'm saying if they just block to the best of their ability, all three of them can get off. Yeah. But if there's a little bit of a missed block, they are not like, they're not an elite like group where like it's Minchie or Williams or Waddle where they're like pop up and it's there. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I get a little bit baby nervous. So I would have liked to have seen if they were pressing and if Jalen beats him or whatever. But anyways, it was a great job, great throw, great catch. And it was a good throw too, because that linebacker was kind of in that zone to where it's got to be over his head and before the safety slash, it wasn't a safety sitting in zone, but the man coverage.
Yeah.
But yes.
But great play by Hyatt, like great hands catch, like you said too.
Yeah.
Like reiterate, great hands catch. I don't care. Like that was great. So end up scoring. Jalen powers it in. Let's see. Back on defense. Let's see. They run a wide receiver sweep. Latrell almost gets it. So close. They run a little bubble screen. Brandon Turnage beats his block and makes a tackle. Like, great play by him. Open field tackle by Tamarian. He forces fourth down. Like, so you're telling me 4 drives in, we got 3 and outs and a field goal attempt. I'd be like, hell yeah, this defense is balling. But, what actually happens and little tiny mistakes can change the narrative a lot. And this is where I wrote down, that crowd was loud for a 12 o'clock kick. Like, that's how you should be. You know what I mean? Not a lot of other people have it.
Not only was it 12 o'clock kick, but bad weather.
Exactly, too. It's cold as shit out there and rainy. So we go back on offense. This is where we start to see, like, Jalen gets the ball thrown and just has no moves whatsoever. Gets tackled immediately. Jerome misses a back block. This is the play where I really was like, why the hell are we running into these boxes? Because it was 7-man box. We had 5 offensive linemen and a tight end. We ran the ball on 2nd and 13 into that box. It's not only not having the right numbers, it is also the situation. I understand we run on 2nd and long sometimes. I've seen it. We run on 2nd and 10. We go for it on 3rd and 7. No big deal. But 2nd and 13, 2nd and 12, and we run into an unfavorable box. It just seems like hey, hold on. This is when we should wait. Look at the sideline, get a different play, run something else. But that didn't happen. And a lot of times they just ran it, which I did not agree with. Then Hooker sees the Ramel mismatch on the next play because we go fast. Jerome gets his helmet knocked off or something. Or no, Sprags, that's it. He has to come out. Lampley comes in. And I'm going to say it right now. Didn't think I ever would. But Lampley has a hell of a play.
I was about to say, yeah.
He comes in, 1 play, 1 down. That's all he's in. He's cold as hell on the sidelines. It's 35 degrees outside. He comes in, man on man, center sliding away from him, jump sets his defensive lineman and holds him up. Incredible by a backup offensive lineman just coming to do that, and we get a first down.
I was waiting to see if you were going to say something because when he came in, I made sure to watch it, but I was watching it for personal reasons, just because of not personal reasons because of him, but personal reasons because maybe a family member of his.
Yeah. Yes, I definitely had to watch that.
Yeah. I was going to tell you. So what I've tried to do for you and the time factor is instead of almost going over every single play and taking notes, like I really am just limiting something that I thought was really noteworthy good or noteworthy bad. So I don't want you to feel like you have to go through every single play and explain the play.
We'll just do it for each drive. Hennon does a good job keeping the ball, keeps the defensive end honest. This is the play where I thought it was offsetting penalties like face mask and a horse collar. Fant has a good blitz pickup. Brew on a dig. Spraggins held. Number 3 had really good coverage on Fant, and it was just an unbelievable play by him. Like, I thought he was on him. And the motion that comes across, like, that's what pulls that safety just a little bit to where Fant is pretty much one-on-one.
Yeah.
There's a running cover one with a safety back to help anybody, but with the motion, it bumps him over. Fant's pretty much one-on-one with this guy, and he's able to make a play on him. And like, Fant's athleticism, it's like undervalued. Like, seriously, I don't think we talk about it enough, but this guy is a fucking beast.
Yeah, he's a unit, that's for sure. I definitely don't mind him at running back. I like that. I was a little surprised to see that they basically threw a go jump ball to him, but it was a hell of a job to adjust in the air. He came down. He, got fortunate that he got that butt cheek in before his head, that the back of his body went out. But yeah, like, Princeton is kind of like Jalen and Tank to me, where like they'll make really cool, good plays, and then they'll follow it up with like he'll follow it up with a missed block or a drop, or like he'll jump off sides. Mm-hmm. And like sometimes, like definitely the Georgia game and some other games, I don't feel like he plays as big as he should, because he's a big guy. Like he's one of those guys that you see in person. He's like, dude looks good. Like he's rocking, and like he needs to play big, and there's times I don't think he does. So that's why sometimes for me it's frustrating, because sometimes he looks awesome, and then other times I'm like, what the hell are we doing throwing to him on 3rd and 4? Like I said the other pod, like I'd rather have to throw it to maybe 5 other people before we throw it to him.
Yeah, I get that. So, he ends up scoring. Defense goes back on the field. Quarterback starts to run the ball more, which I think they should do anyways. He is such a threat. They run that wide receiver quarterback counter option. Next play, like Tyler Barron, great pursuit, and Banks, staying home on the option, like making him take it himself, and then Tyler Barron gets the tackle. Like, that's just great defensive plays.
Dejan and Omari also did a really good job of beating their blocks and running down the line on that one.
Yeah. Play action pass to the flats. They, like I said, when we first started, they were doing. And then next play, literally 3 guys. Latrell wins his one-on-one block. Easton holds up 2 guys, leaves Beasley wide open. Beasley makes the tackle for forcing a 4th down. It's like, that's exactly what you need to do.
It's actually the play that literally just happened right here. It was fabulous.
Yeah, it was fabulous. Fabulous overall play by the defense.
I'm excited.
And we have the 4th down.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And we have the 4th down, where it completely changes. Brandon Turnage, flat feet as the guy gets to him. Straight up, heels are on the ground when the guy is right next to him. Gets beat over. Brandon has enough speed to catch up to this guy. He's shown it in the past. But the ball isn't thrown where Brandon thinks it's going to be thrown. He thinks it's going to be towards the sideline. It's not. It's thrown back shoulder. Guy stops. Jalen over pursues. Touchdown.
I heard a lot of Brandon on that. This to me, I have no idea what the hell Tate McCullough was doing. Now, I'm going to rewatch it again because I don't know what his depth he was coming from. But this play right here is the play that it puts the game. The game was kind of on ice. And then when they brought it back to 28-24, then, the ice is watered. And we got to put the body back on ice again, which we end up doing by a lot. But you get a stop here and you go up 28-27 or 24-27, like, it's definitely done. But I watched this play. And I'm it's great because I can actually talk to you while I'm watching it. So give me 1 second real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. the reason I counted is because if you pause it and look, you do not see Tank McCullough in the picture, which means he's at deep safety.
Yep.
So Brandon Turnage does not get caught looking in the back terribly. I mean, he sees it. He's watching in the backfield. Now he notices. He is basically even with his guy when he turns. Now, I always say, if you're even, they're leaving. Thank goodness Brandon A has good athletic speed, and he doesn't quit on this. Like, he puts his head down like a track runner and says, damn it, I'm beat. Let me try to make up for it. But then again, I think he's in decent coverage because he's on the outside coverage, but then the receiver or tight end makes a really good adjustment to the ball. But if you're Tank McCullough,
I mean, what else is he looking at? There's one receiver, one ball. It's like,
if you're a good safety or really good safety, it's a pick or a PBU. Okay. And if you're if you're making an average play, if you're an average safety, you at least just make the tackle after they catch it. But not only does he not make a play on the ball, not only does he not make a PBU or try to hit him and lodge it, he does nothing, and it's a walk-in touchdown. That's where I was like, that's where it's so mind-blowing that he can literally have an Eric Berry, a Harrison Smith, a Tyrann Mathieu, a whatever type of safety play where he reads the screen and shoots up and makes it, where he just looks like a baller, and then he looks like me out there trying to play safety. Like, what? Like, I just don't get it. Like, I'm just watching it, and it's like, I know his pursuit wasn't good, but it's just like, you just can't have that.
There's a point when you're back there at safety and you see, hey, this is the only guy who can get the ball, right? So you look at the guy and you go, where is he running towards? Okay, he's running in that direction. Okay, I'm going to start running in that direction. Then you should immediately go, where's the ball? I'm already running towards him. Now I can look up or look around and see where the ball's coming in and make a play on the ball. It looked like he just stared at the wide receiver. I was like, I'm going to go where he goes, and I'm not even going to pay attention where the ball comes in.
First off, kudos to Missouri. Great, you're not going to necessarily win the game, or excuse me, you're still playing to win the game there. And I love that they say we might not have a better chance. They probably really, really like that play. And instead of saying, hey, let's just get the first, let's take a chance here. And if you watch it, because they show the replay from behind the offense, you see Tank just standing back there. His eyes must have got caught in the backfield because he does not take his read steps. He's standing straight up. And then what he sees is, I think when he sees the receiver run, he opens up to run, and it does look like the ball you think is going to be a corner route, but the guy does such an adjustment, he's out of place. All that to be said, you can't let that happen. You cannot let that happen.
No, not as the safety. You're the safety net. That's why it's called that. So they end up scoring. Okay, we have the ball. Let's see. Big play by Jabari. Just a nasty juke on that safety. That's it, man. We blocked everybody else. You're one-on-one with your man. You make your man miss. Incredible. Hitch to Jacob. Jalen follows Darnell on the block. It's 6v6. 6 blockers for 6 guys in the box. We get 15 yards. Love it. Jalen gets stuffed. Then Hooker pulls. It's the same play 3 plays in a row. We ran power to the left, power to the right, power to the left. Hooker kept it on the last one, keeping that defensive end honest. Jukes out a guy and touchdown. Like, it's just, that's exactly what you want. Those are the run plays that you want. And then for Hooker to, like, you have to, as a quarterback, pull that every now and then. You have to. Because if not, then they're just going to take advantage of the backside defensive end is going to add into he's going to make the play over and over. So
Justin Worley,
no matter what, as a quarterback.
Justin Worley and Butch Jones's offense.
Exactly. Justin is not made to run. That's why he wasn't good for Butch Jones's offense.
Yeah.
Also, when Hooker pulled and he ended up running, Darnell pulling around from right tackle absolutely obliterated the defensive end or linebacker that was coming off the edge. I think it was a linebacker, just took him out. And it didn't matter because Jabari didn't get the ball. But I was like, I got to shout out Darnell.
So, wait, you? I didn't get to finish because you kept talking. I blatantly started to say something, and before you stopped, so it was not interrupting you, and then you just kept going.
Sorry.
You just wanted. Now I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah, the Justin Morley thing. The thing that used to be so frustrating about that, and all UT fans were like, first off, Justin was athletic enough to at least keep it and get 5 yards. But when I had to watch freaking Bo Wallace at Ole Miss, if he can run a read option, Justin Morley could. So back to your point, yeah, you got to keep it and hold it at least at some point, even if you're meeting quarterback.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. So I think we ended up scoring right there. Pretty sure. Yeah. And then they get the ball back. Quarterback draw. Nothing much out of it. Let's see. Easton and Jawan make blockers miss. 1 yard gain. They both did very well in that play. And then I thought Missouri honestly had a great play design. And then they motioned into a play action pass. It was just great pursuit by Roman Harrison. Like, great pursuit by him to make the tackle. Let's see. I think that switches us over. I think that was a 3 and out, and then they punt, get us the ball back. Then we get, a tough run by Jabari. Then, have missed blocks cause holding. That's literally the next note I have. It is missed blocks, bad technique, like lunging on guys causes you to hold. And I think it was Cooper at this point or Spraggs, could have been either one of them. That's what causes you to hold, is when you use bad technique, you lean, you throw your head into stuff when you shouldn't. Here's another play, Hyatt, no moves. Good pass, bro, though. The option play. I absolutely love it. Let's run it more. This was a great play because Hooker did a very fantastic job of reading the defensive end, faking the pitch, taking it himself. But Jerome and Jacob Warren getting up to second level were also amazing. Then Darnell and Cooper cutting off and reaching their guys was great. So it was 5 to 6 guys out of the 11 did exactly what they're supposed to do, and we got that positive play. So absolutely loved it. Let's see. Plenty of time. Brew comes back. Then we have 2 drops in a row by Hyatt. And I immediately, and I think you might have thought the same thing, practice. I immediately thought, when everyone gave us shit about not believing in Hyatt, when everyone said that, we were being mean, we were, overreacting,
Haters.
Those two plays right there, back to back, Jalen drops the ball twice in a row. That's what me and Reed saw at practice. When we went to practice, the 3 or 4 times we did, that's what was showing up. So there was nothing for us to believe in at that point. Those were the plays that were being had. He could have caught both of those balls. I know they weren't in perfect position, but you want to be a Biletnikoff Award winner? Catch those balls.
One practice we went to, he had 4 drops throughout the entire practice, which 4 drops is a lot of drops in practice. Like he had 2 in one-on-ones, and then he had 2 more in team stuff. So, yeah.
So then we try and go for it. Jeremiah turns his hips, gets beat around the edge, and it's a sack. Plain and simple.
It was actually a sick. It was that boy got around quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Yeah, he got around quick, fast, and in a hurry. When the tackle he's going against turns his hip, doesn't stay square, and has no fucking hands. Yeah, he got real quick, fast, and in a hurry. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I hate when defensive linemen or defensive players get all the hype because a freaking offensive player doesn't know what the hell they're doing or doesn't show any kind of technique. Jeremiah beat his damn self.
Yeah.
Okay. Back on defense. Pressure up the middle, incomplete pass. Oh, dang it, dude. This next play, it was a twist up front. We should have made the tackle. And the guy freaking takes off for 40 yards. This is right before half. Takes off for 30, 40 yards. It is the perfect play call. We have everyone covered. We run twist up front. Just Joseph's, he's right there to make the play and misses. And everyone's turned around. Also, does Trey Flowers run a 5.6?
Yeah. So
what the hell was that?
So
tell me, defensive back. What was that?
When I was watching, and I just had that whole stick in my mud thought from earlier with Byron. When I saw this again, I was like, that is the definition of looking like you're running in mud or you're stuck in mud, because it looked brutal. Now just think about what we've had here is we've had great plays by Jalen and head scratching ones by Jalen. Then we've had good plays by Trey in other games, and now we're back to the one that's like, WTF? What the hell? What am I looking at? So that's where it's like, there's still some room for more talent to come in, and not, like I said, I hate knocking those guys because hey, they're a million times better than I ever were. But it's like I said, a lot of times I don't know if it's a lack of fear in your eyes. And so you just get caught, and therefore if you are athletic, you take yourself out of the play for any of your athleticism to matter because your eyes are looking the best way. But yes, I saw that and I said, this is a brutal. Like when he has to watch that on film, it is going to look brutal.
Oh, brutal. Then we end up stopping them and make them kick the field goal for halftime. They make it. We get ball coming out of half. Hendon misses Brew on a dig. Bubble to Hyatt. Spraggins oversets and holds on the play, but Hendon makes a great play on it and is available to avoid and run, which Spraggins not doing his best. Hendon being as good as he is makes Spraggins look good. That is plain and simple. There were times where I didn't see a blitz coming and Dobbs made me look good. So it happens, definitely. Then Gerald Mincy get freaking oversets and push-pull. And he gets beat, and it's a sack.
I was wrong. I admit that I was wrong. I really thought, and I guess it was because Jeremiah Crawford was injured or whatever, but I really thought Mincy was going to be the left tackle and hold that down. But, I mean, Jeremiah Crawford's played well. He really has.
I have no idea with them. Like, they're both playing about the same amount right now and both getting opportunities. Like, I have it's very close.
I think they're both fine. I think they both have some really good plays. I think both of them have some plays that they'd like to have back is the nicest way to put it.
Yeah. We try a tunnel screen. Brew doesn't run the tunnel. He just stays outside. Spraggs needs to punch his defensive lineman and not let him get a free hit on Hendon on that play. Then we get a delay of game. Can anyone explain to me the logic of this rule where the offense is set with 15 seconds left? They're ready. They're ready to snap the ball. And the defense can just take their fucking time for 15 seconds and run the clock out, and it's our fault. We get penalized for it. That makes no fucking sense.
Is that where the center or the referee?
He just waited. He just waited there till the fucking clock ran out because Missouri subbed in one guy. Then right before the guy went off the bounds, they subbed in another. So it took another 10 seconds for him to run off.
Hold on, buddy. You can't snap just yet. We got to give them time. You got time. We got to give them time.
Please change the fucking rule. Please. And then good job by Jabari on that one-handed snag on the screen.
Sick play.
That was a sick play.
Yeah.
We ended up punting, but that was a very sick play. Okay, so Missouri's back on offense. Let's see. Play action pass, great coverage. We've run games to take away the lanes of the quarterback. They run that option power again. This is where Brandon turned his eyes. He's covering another guy, then sees the wheel route, comes up almost like so close to having that freaking interception. I wish he would have.
Actually, there was two times where I thought that he should have had picks. And then he broke on it well, but he's good enough to, hey, you shouldn't just break on that. Like you got to make that play.
Yeah. They hit a little fake pitch, little slot shot over the middle.
Eli Lamowitz does have some pretty nice little wrinkles and stuff like that. Like he does. You can see kind of what Missouri's hoping to come out of, whether if he can get some more talent in and stuff. And
definitely. Good pursuit by Banks and Jawan the next play. Then Tamarian gets beat. Slot shot touchdown. That's when it goes 24-28, I think, at that point.
And that was one where it wasn't like the TV pans and you're like, oh my gosh, how's that guy just so open? But it was pretty nonchalant, and that's a bummer. So okay, it's happened twice now in the season. It happens.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Was not great. Let's just say that. Now we get Dylan Sampson in the game.
Hey, by the way, and before Dylan Sampson's, we're going to give him his flowers because we love the way he runs.
And we have, and all those people who say we found a secret weapon in Dylan Sampson, and he's going to be so good, and all your other podcasts you listen to, we fucking told y'all in training camp. In August, that Dylan Sampson was a damn beast.
That was when everyone was still wanting to put out pictures of like that Justin Williams Thomas kid and like showed like little pictures of him in his jersey looking all juicy and beefed up, and you get like a cajillion retweets and likes. So like, here's our QB one, or here's our running back one, like here's our power back we need. It's like, you guys are fucking stupid. Like it's so lame. But I was telling Lou, my uncle, when he got back, I was like, bro, when we were at camp, because he was talking about Dylan Sampson, and Austin was like, who is this guy? Where's he from? I was like, bro, I'm telling you, when Kyle and I went, everybody was thinking about that Justin Williams Thomas kid. And I was like, we went and we saw it immediately. And we're like, wait, who's that running back? And then we were like, oh, wait. I was like, dude, that's my guy, Dylan Sampson. And you're like, wow. And then you start talking to the offensive lineman, and they're like, I'm telling you, he's special. Like, he's good. Yeah. And I remember Austin asked me, he goes, well, why hasn't he been playing more? I said, well, he did play some, and then he got our quarterback absolutely blasted. So he had to
that LSU play wasn't very good.
he had to sit the bench for a little bit. But let me say this. I'm still watching it on my work laptop. And it was that play where the quarterback leaves Trey Flowers in the dust. But let me just say this. Great pursuit by Christian Charles, Danico Slaughter, Wesley Walker, and Tamarian to not give up on that play. Because I would have been hot if that quarterback would have ended up house calling that. So kudos to, the good effort and the speed to chase him down by Christian Charles. Continue.
Exactly. So Dylan Sampson comes in the game. We run a little bubble to him. He does very well. Then the next play is the hidden Jalen Hyatt. Ooh, baby, I love it. And there's even another wrinkle that people might not have noticed. They did tackle over. So Gerald Mincy is on the other side. He's on the right side. So it makes the defense think even more. This is a run. They're going to the right. Put Dylan Sampson in motion, coming to the right. Everything is to the field, to the field, to the field. That's the thought process. And then we just hit Jalen just squatting down over there, hiding behind big old Jacob Warren, and just pops out. I love it.
That was the play right there that kind of put it back on ice, because they had scored. Does Tennessee have a drive in to go back down here, or are we going to hurt ourselves? Are we going to force a punt? Are we going to have a turnover? No.
When it was so quick after they scored too.
That's what I'm saying. I think it was a play, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 2 plays.
Yeah,
that's it.
I think we're at a minute. We're at an hour 36. I think if you want to You can talk as long as you want, Kyler. It's your show, but I'm just letting you know. I'm just letting you know. But now, if you just want to kind of talk about Jalen or Dylan Sampson, Squirrel, and Joe.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. Dylan Sampson, I think he showed his abilities, his speed, his cutting. I mean, one cut that he hit on the safety, just nasty. And that's okay. That's your guy. We blocked everybody else. You're one-on-one with somebody. What are you going to do? And he makes them damn miss.
I love how he glides. Now, I will say this. If I had to put my arm around Dylan, and considering I've never played anything for running back, let's just take it back to middle school when I got a couple handoffs. No big deal. We don't have to talk about what the results were. But anyways, if I put my arm around him and there was some stuff that I would want him to work on in the offseason, because I think he runs hard, he runs smooth, he's fast, he's patient. I think he's good enough in the open field. And I think he does a good job of, like, he looks like he's trying to take care of the ball. Like, he just looks like he's, like, so compact, and, like, he looks like he's holding the ball with two hands and really covering it up. But my thing with him would be like, bro, you need to become an absolute maniac in the open field. Like, he's good in the open field, but his attributes are going to give him the ability to be like a DeAnthony Thomas from Oregon, or like a Percy Warner, or Dexter or Percy Harvin, or Dexter McCluster, or like, what you see what I'm saying? Like, he could be a college football maniac in the open field if he can keep developing that, because he has the skill set too.
Definitely. Before we move into the twos on offense, I just want to kind of like go through my defensive notes. Let's see. Again, Tyler Barron just making plays. Like, he really did play a very good game.
I thought about him a couple of times because he flashed, and I was like, man, I always think about when you talk about moving him down inside. I'm telling you, I would not be shocked.
He's such a mismatch, bro.
I would not be shocked if we looked up. I'm not predicting this happens, because I don't know how his game translates athletically to the NFL. But I'm not going to be shocked if we look up in 5 or 6 years and he's still hanging around on a roster and he's bumped inside and is like a Malik Jackson-esque. Now, he doesn't have the natural size or probably the natural gifts that Malik Jackson has. Malik Jackson was a fantastic player, and he was a heck of a pro for his longevity and some of his time. But where they bump Tyler Barron in, he puts more weight on because he's not twitchy enough for the outside. But if he has that frame that he can get bigger, I think about that often when I see him make a play, and like how you really pointed that out first, to me at least.
Yeah. I love Tyler Barron inside. Other stuff on defense, the fourth down that Missouri had was a great play call. Absolutely perfect play call. They pitch it to Elijah Young. That's who you're supposed to give it to. He's a playmaker. He drops it. That's a lot of pressure on the guy. That's what happened. It wasn't like that was open for a first down. Definitely.
Well,
dude. If he would have caught that, that would have been a first down.
Okay, calm down, big fella.
Don't argue with me.
He still had a guy that he was going to have to make miss.
No, there was a blocker. There's a wide receiver blocking.
Okay, so us DBs don't know how to shed blocks. I've watched.
Dude, listen.
I've watched all of our DBs do it great all year long. I mean, just look how fast we got to the ball. So you're saying how quick we got to the ball, we weren't going to be able back there to make a tackle?
He fumbled twice.
You act like
fumbled, grabbed it, and fumbled again. Then we got there.
I'm just saying, I'm going to pull it back up. So keep talking.
Pull it back up. That would have been a damn first down.
We'll see about that. You just act like you're going to walk in.
Also, before we go into the rest of the offense, James Pierce. That man's a beast. I love him. I love his size. He looks fucking huge out there. 6'5", 240 right now. Like, great size to him as a freshman. He gets a sack versus the ones. Like, cannot wait for James Pierce to develop and be a good player for us. I also think for Tim Banks, it was a very good job of him transitioning into like a 3-man front versus this offense and trying to keep Cook in the pocket. Because I think that's what made the big difference in the second half. It's like, all right, he likes to run, just keep him there and make him throw.
Yeah, agreed. I'm glad you brought it up because I was going to say it.
Yeah. Okay, so then we get Milton in. Holy crap, bro. So Milton runs an option play, fake pitch, runs it himself. Instead of looking for possibly out of bounds, he finds a defensive player and tries to run him over, which excites the hell out of me as an offensive lineman. Then he throws a 40-yard rope, absolute rope, with no follow-through to Ramel Keaton. Had literally could not step up. And 40 yards was just like this, just all arm like that.
So I already know I'm going to get a little annoyed and a little frustrated with everyone just slobbering over, like when he just lets it, when he flicks it and it goes a cajillion yards. I'm going to get a little annoyed with it because it's like, yeah, how many times are we going to say it? It's like we know he has a big arm. That's awesome. I'm not hating on him. I'm just like, it just gets old. Like people point the same thing over and over. But I will say my favorite ball that he throws is that deep post that he throws on a rope, because most quarterbacks, if it isn't a legit
they
post,
have to get air on it.
Correct. So most people and I'm not talking about like a short little, a lot of times we'll run like half post, half slant, where it's not 3 steps and in slant, and it's not 7 or 8 yards in and post and like a real kind of end zone take. And we'll kind of, there's so many versions of a dig, post, climb, all this. But when you were taught a post when you were younger, it's go, 10 yards, put your foot in the ground, and we're taking a shot. And it's you're catching it over like this. You're catching it over top like that. This man literally, like you said, throws laser beams that are a post depth, but he's throwing it like it's a dig. That's what's special to watch, not the ones where he just lets it rip and throws it 70 yards and let someone run under it. I mean, I've seen a lot of like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, hell, like
Marcus Russell.
Exactly. So, but anyways, and by the way, I just watched the Tamarian play. He didn't get super smoked, but it wasn't great. And I just don't like that it was a slot. I mean, it was a slot shot where he's kind of press, and I just don't know if he should be that press.
Yeah.
But it didn't look brutal. But I think for him, he needs to do a better job of getting a jam. Anyways, continue.
I agree. So then Joe hits that other one that's a 65-yard throw to Squirrel, and it's literally like, hey, you want to prevent overthrows, just get a faster receiver. Squirrel runs underneath it, and honestly, like when he let go of that, I thought it was going 30 yards. Like it didn't look like he was throwing it hard, and it goes that far.
It was really funny you tweeted that, because I thought the exact same thing. I was like,
yeah.
I was like, the potential that could just be the same thing that we've had Hendon and Jalen do this year. The potential for Joe and Squirrel, or Joe and Jalen, to do that again next year is going to be insane.
Oh my God. Dude, Joe with his receivers are Brew McCoy, Ramel Keaton, Squirrel White.
And Jalen, if he comes back.
That's dangerous. Jalen ain't coming back, bro.
Okay,
That man's about to win the Blitnikoff. He ain't coming back.
We'll see.
So I thought that was great. And to all the people that are saying we shouldn't have scored that last touchdown, shut the hell up. It is 2s versus 1s. Okay? If your 1s cannot stop the 2 offensive line with a 2 running back, with a 2 quarterback, and the 2 wide receivers, then y'all suck. You need to get over yourselves, because guess what? 66-24 looks a lot better than 59-24 when it comes to college football playoffs. Y'all wanted explosive offense. Y'all wanted to show why we belong in the top 4. Here you go. Here's all those points you wanted. You can't have it fucking both ways.
Yeah, Rick, Mr. UCLA failure, Neuheisel or whatever. Like, and he was like, "Oh, Missouri's going to follow this one." I was like, "Sweet, file it away. Like, what do we care? We just put."
Hey, guess what? Heupel filed away Derkowitz going on the damn Levitard show and talking shit about Tennessee's allegations.
Yeah.
So F off. Talking about filing away.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. Because I thought it was Jim Rome's show.
That's what it was.
It's one of those, and he was on there laughing and joking, and like, getting, it was like still getting some of that hype from the it's like not postseason, but just off season nonsense. It's just like, bro, we just hung 60 on you at your place. We'll probably do it again. And guess what? We did.
Exactly.
I'd love to keep talking more about some of the different defensive stuff of kind of what what I really think changed different for me is what you pointed on. And it's like, hey, we're going to play more conservative / almost like we're going to keep the quarterback in this box. And it's like, hey, if you want to beat us, you're going to have to beat us with arm. And then I thought our DBs started making, what are those good plays on the ball, good coverage, sack type deals where we either got a sack or they had to throw it away. But they started making those 1 or 2 plays here or there.
Exactly.
That really was able to extend the game and say, it's over.
Yeah. And as we transition South Carolina, like, we're going to kill South Carolina. So they couldn't – literally their only touchdown was a fake punt. Like, they can't score. They can't stop anybody. This is going to be an absolute blowout. I can't even believe South Carolina's won 6 games at this point. So it'll be a fun game next week.
I was going to say, it still could be their Super Bowl. I think if they had won this past week, or if they'd won the past 2 weeks and they were still like 24th or 25th or just had some decent momentum, that place would be bananas. They would be pulling out all the trick plays, all the shots, doing everything. But he might have lost the team. And so Tennessee better go down there and hang another 60 piece. And Jalen Hyatt, and as a South Carolina boy, or some of these other guys from South Carolina, or some of these other guys that, whatever, this is one of those games where if you had to want to find one of those chips, one of those chocolate chips that I'd like to eat right now, but you got to put it on your shoulder and come out and blow the doors off these losers.
Exactly.
I hope they absolutely wreck them, because I don't like Beamer and I don't like Spencer Rattler. See you later, deuces.
See ya. I think I agree with Reed. I think everybody else does too. I hate the Shane Beamer comparison to Josh Heupel talk. So that's always pretty annoying. Obviously, our coach is better. So thank you guys for watching and listening. If you are watching, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and leave a comment. We always love the comments. If you're just listening, rate and review, download, re-download, and share with friends and family. Let them know. Let them know that this is the best podcast about Tennessee football. We love breaking down everything for you guys. We have merch now. I am wearing it right now. I'm probably going to wear it every single podcast. But How We Doing Bud t-shirts, y'all go buy those right now. Link is below. If you want to follow us on social media, at Believe in Tennessee for our main account, at rbacon26 for Reed, at Kyler Kerberson for myself on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So it's all the same. But always, just really appreciate you guys. Y'all are the best. As always, go Vols.